All right, welcome to the next episode or video session, live session on Python. And in this session, we are going to cover the very important topics again after completing, having seen these data types, different data types we have seen, starting from fundamental data types like we have seen string, we have seen integer, we have seen float, we have seen Boolean, how it works, and we have also covered the data structure data types in detail with examples. That is a list data type. We have something called tuple data type, we have seen dictionary data type, set data type. At the same time, we have seen set, frozen set, I can say frozen set. So every data type is have its pros and cons. So we have to decide when you're writing a program, which one would be the best one for my program. Okay, so now we are going to the next level of understanding how we can work with input and output in Python programming. Okay, we'll see with the examples, a lot of examples. But before that, let me just write some simple notes here so that we can understand. Okay, I just want to convert this. I don't want to write a program here, so I want to convert this into a markdown. So what I'll do is I'll just paste week 9 topics to be covered today. So what are we going to cover? The first topic we are going to cover is input, input, or input and output in Python. Okay, that's a topic which we are going to cover. We'll spend a lot of time on this, and later we'll move on to the next topic called control statements. We can say control flow statement rather. Okay. All right, these are the two topics only we are going to cover, and tomorrow we'll see in the next week session, we'll see how to work with the loops. So there is a complete package of working with the control flow and as well as the loops. All right, so before we go further, let me write in a simple words, what is exactly the input and output in Python? And also we'll try to understand how this is going to be helpful for me. We have been seeing already. So whenever I want to give some output, okay, 10 plus 20 equal to 30. So what is the 30 is an answer, right? So what is that 30 and how you're going to give an output to the user by using a print command. So we are already using the print command, and it's all depends upon you what exactly you want to print. Is it a text, a welcome text you want to print, whether you want to print some a number, whether you want to print some variables value you want to print, or you want to print some any information as an part of your program, what is the output you want to give the end user? That is what the print statement we've been using right from the first session, right? So uh, let's see what is the importance of the input. Okay, so let me write a few lines and then we'll deep dive into this topic with a lot of examples so that you can understand. And basically this input is whenever you want to take some information from the user, and based on that you want to perform certain mathematical operations you see, or you want to perform some job and then you want to give input output, then we are going to use the input function. Okay, so let me write some few information here, how this is why exactly we are going to use this, and how this will help us. Okay, so basically what happens is like when you are using, okay, so let me write in the form of a paragraph. Input function. Okay, the way you're writing the print command, how you're writing the print command in the lowercase, like you're writing print, simply print and opening closing brackets. I really not sure what you want to write in the print. Okay, if it is a string, you are going to use a single quotes, double quotes or triple quotes. If it is a numeric value, you are not going to put any quotes or something like that because it will not accept, right? So uh, that is how the print command is working. In now I want to use something called input function. Okay, print is giving an output. Input, the word itself is indicating I want to take some information from the user. Okay, let me write a few lines here so that you can remember as a statement. Okay, input, input function is predefined. Oh, all right, so I've written in a simple words what exactly it mean. Okay, let me mute everyone. So input is a predefined function. The way we are using the print command, it is also a predefined inbuilt function. The word we need to understand, inbuilt. It's already there. Okay, I'm not inventing any new way. I'm not doing on something on my own. I'm just using that function, and according to my program, I'm making use of it. So input is also a predefined function which is available in Python to take the input from the keyboard. Okay, from the keyboard. That means whatever the user is entering, you want to take that information, and based on that, you want to calculate something or you want to run some job. Okay, and there is in Python 2 or 2.0 or 2.x, what you can say, we have something called raw input. Okay, which is not existing now, which is not existing. So there's no need to understand about this. It is this raw input is also a predefined function which was available in 2.x version, but we are not using 2.x version anymore. We are using 3.x version. From here we can start using input, not raw input, guys. Okay, if you find somewhere like raw input, so we cannot use it even if you try to understand what is a raw input, which is similar to the input function which is available in the Python 3x version. Okay, so basically what is happening here, whenever we want to take some information from the user, we are going to use input function. That is what it is saying, right? So but there is a default behavior of input. Okay, whenever it accepts some information, how it is going to accept, let's see. So first I want to take a default example. Okay, a basic example, rather, let me put this way, a basic example. What I want to do is I want to take information from the user, a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Okay, what I'm trying to do here, I want to do some multiplication, I want to do some subtraction, whatever the operation you are doing, we are just using the print command, and you are saying the total is, now after that we are putting a plus b, or you can store c equal to a plus b, you can straight away say c. Okay, depends. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm just giving 10, 20, and that 10, 20 I'm putting into and one more variable as a storage, that is a c as a variable, and when I'm printing, obviously I'm going to get the output. The total is 30. What is the total is? That is a predefined information which I've written myself in double quotes. So as you know, whatever you write in double quotes, it will print just like that. Now, what is the problem with this program? There's nothing wrong actually. Initially, when we are learning, and this is how we started learning, right? A equal to 10, we just want to understand how this 10 is stored in a variable. But this will not work in the real time. That means I'm using a word here. I'm using hard-coded value. Hard-coded value in the sense I've given 10. Even if you run this program for 1,000 times, you will see always 30 only. Okay, you'll never see any other number because I have used hard-coded value here. I'm just writing that word, very important, hard-coded. Okay, hard-coded values in the sense myself have decided what should be A, what should be B, and what should be the output. I defined everything, but I don't know if what if you want to take the information from the user, based on that you want to calculate, then here comes a picture of using the input function. So let's try to see how it works. There are a lot of issues which you are going to see while you are working on this. So I'll ask some few questions myself when I'm doing this program. So let's see. Using input function. Okay, the same example I'll take, input function. I'll take the same example and see how quickly I can make this program into dynamic. There is nothing wrong with the first programming, guys. The first program, the program what I've written, there's nothing wrong. But the only problem is whenever I run, I always see the output as 30 only. I'm not going to see any different number, right? So here what I want to do is I want to convert this program into dynamic. Dynamic in the sense I want to take the information from the user. Let me go back to the text what I've written. Input is a predefined function available in the Python to take input from the keyboard, from the user rather, okay, from the keyboard in this, from the user. So here I'm not going to hard code. In this example, hard coded values I've taken. In this, I want to make it, by using input function, I want to make it dynamic. How are we going to use it? Just take the base example I'm taking. What you're going to do is you are going to say input. Okay, you're going to say input in within the double quotes, write whatever you want to write. Enter your first number. What does it mean? You're asking the user, can you please enter the first number? Because I don't want to put any static values, or okay, static which cannot be changed, or hard-coded values. That is what my previous example shows. Just try to take a quick pause and try to check what is 123 example and 124 example, how different it is and what is happening here. Okay, I said A, I said B, I said C equal to A plus B, nothing but a simple calculation, and then printing C. Now, what I'm expecting is this time no 10, net 20. Whatever the user enter, based on that logic, I want to, based on the numbers, what he has provided, I want to give the output. Now, once you run, what happens? Will it give any output? No. The reason is, in this previous example, I've taken 10, 20, so I know what the output is going to be 30 because you already hard coded. But here, I don't know what is output. I don't know what the user is going to enter. I have no clue, right? So let me run this, and you'll see amazing box will appear on your screen asking you, can you please enter the first number? Okay, let me put this as a second number. Okay, this is only a text, guys. Whatever the text I'm giving, that is only for the printing purpose. Okay, nothing to do with the program. Enter your first number is a text which I'm displaying just like that. Enter your second number, just like that I want to print. Once I say run, you'll see a beautiful box is appeared. Why? Because now it want to seek a number from you rather than hard-coded numbers. Now, earlier example, I keep telling 10, 20, 10, 20, 10, 20. No, no more 10, 20 now. I want to use 100. Python, can you tell me what is 100 plus 200? Okay, when I say enter, it will ask me one more question. Why it's asking me one more question? Because you yourself said, can you please enter the first number? Can you please enter the second number? That's the beauty of input box. Okay, not input box, input function rather. Let me say input function. Now here I want to give any number now because it's going to add. Now, usually what you expect is when you say 100 plus 300, obviously we are going to expect 400. Now, let's see how the Python is going to treat this. If you understand this trick, you'll not find any errors when you are writing the program. So let me run this program. I'll simply say enter. No, the problem here is I was expecting, innocently I've given 100 and 300. I'm expecting, can you please give me the answer as 400? But no, the answer is not giving me 400, rather it is trying to put 100 and as well as 300. So looks like a very big program here, looks like a very big output, but this is not what I'm expecting. Why? Because let me go back to my story. Here what I've written, input function is a predefined function available in Python to take the input from the keyboard. So there is a next important point is there, which if you understood, if you can understand, that every example what I'm going to write will be very easy. This function, basically this function, okay, this function will take inputs in string format. Excellent. The function will take inputs. Let me write as take inputs. I've written in simple words, guys. The function will takes inputs in string format only. That means what is the default behavior as my input function? Whatever you enter, it will think that you are entering a string. Input function doesn't know what is number. Input function doesn't know what is float. Input function doesn't know anything. It knows only one thing. Whatever you're entering, it will think that you are entering some text, which is very bad, right? Because I failed. My program is completely failed because I was expecting something to be given as an output as 400, but it's not giving. Okay, so let's take one more example here. How to fix this? Okay, how to fix this? Now here comes a picture of converting your text to number. Guys, understand this concept. What I'm trying to do is whatever the information the user is giving, 100, that is the user has given. It's not me. User has entered. 300 also he has entered. But my Python interpreter is not understanding 100 is a numeric value. 300 is a numeric value. It is not understanding. It is taking that 100 and 300 as a string and combining them. It is concatenating 100 plus 200 as it is converting into a string. Okay, how you are sure like input is taking as string? Okay, let me see the type. Okay, how you are going to see the type of that variable? Let's say type of, I want to say C. By this, you'll understand how my Python interpreter is treating me. Okay, once you say run, you can see it's asking me what's your first question, first number 100. What is your second number? I said 200. Okay, this is your output. Okay, forget about the output. Let's look at the type. Though I've entered the numbers, it's treating me as string, not as a number. This is what worrying me. I want it has to treat as integer, but it is not treating me as integer. That's why my output is wrong. And I can't say input function is doing something wrong here. No, it's not doing something wrong. Input function behavior itself is treating everything as string. That need to be understood very clearly. Input function will treat everything in Python as strings. Good. That's the behavior of Python input function. But how about my numbers? I want to calculate. I want to multiply it. I want to separate. I want to do some kind of a function. but it's not working, right? So what we're going to do is here we are going to convert that string function. Okay, whatever the information it is taking, I want to convert into a string integer data type so that it can give me a integer on output. Okay, if I say something like 10 plus 10 is going to be an output as 20, but if I say 10 double quotes plus double quotes 20 or 10, whatever, if I run this, what happens? Let's try to have a closer look here. First, it is trying to give, okay, let me run the first one first. It's giving me 20 as an output. If I run the second one, what happens? It is giving me 10 10. It's not giving me 20 answer. The reason is that number what you're provided is double quote. This is what happening with the input function also. Okay, input is treating the 10 as a string, not as a number. Now here comes a picture of using converting a type function here. How you're going to type into a function. So let's try to see this now. Okay, now what happens is here, let me take as a next example, input function, which is converting, okay, the same example. Here, what I want to do is, I want to say, okay, very important concept, guys. Here, I want to say, y equal to, I want to convert whatever the user is giving the information, I want to convert into integer data type. So how we are going to write integer data type? Int a. Forget about all the lines, just look at the first two lines. Whatever the information is giving by the user will be stored in the value called variable called a. That a, again, I'm trying to what I'm doing is I'm converting into integer data type and storing in a variable called y. That's it, as simple as that, right? Now let me go for the next one. Now what I want to do is z equal to, you can take any variables, guys, the a, b, c, d, whatever, you can take it. So what I want to do is input equal to b. Now both the informations, let me put this way so that you can understand. Okay, now you can understand very clearly. A is an input function which is accepting a number and storing in a variable called a. And a is being converted into an integer data type and storing in a variable called y, right? Now, after that, it is trying to store the b also into a variable called z, right? Now, both z and y and z are stored in a variable called c. So that means I need to change this variable to y, then z. Then I need to give c, okay, fine. Now let's run this. Okay, try to understand the concept, not output. Whatever the user is entering information, I'm storing in a variable called, I repeat, in a variable called a. That information I'm converting into a integer data type and storing in a variable called a, y. Second number, whatever is entering, I'm storing in a variable called b. Then the same b is converted to an integer data type. Okay, converting into integer data type. Okay, integer data types. Because what is the by default nature of input? Input data type function behavior is only string. It doesn't know anything else. So it's my job to convert it. So what I did is I said 100. Okay. It's asking me again a new question. What is the second number? I said 200. When I say run, it should give me 300. Unlike the first function. Okay. Unlike the first example. In this example, what is happening is it's working fine. It's working fine because that is the default nature of my input function. It will simply concatenate, but it will never add. It will never do any mathematical operations on your numbers because it doesn't know what is number. So I need to explicitly tell to my Python, whatever the user is entering, treat them as integer, treat them as integer. Okay, that's how now I'm able to get the output as integer information. But don't you think, guys, like we are spending more number of lines for a simple example. So what I can do is just remove this. Okay, or let me put it here. I'll just put it as a comment so that it will not run. We know when I put it as a comment, it will not run. Now, what I want to do is I want to save some lines. I don't want to write so many times. Okay, I don't want to put so many lines. So what you can do is whatever the information is giving by the user, you want to convert while you are taking the information itself, you want to convert into integer data type. Excellent. That means you're avoiding two lines in writing in a single line. Now let me write input, that is int, that is an integer data type, and you are just putting. Okay, let me remove this. Let me remove this. Now, just check it out. Now, the instead of writing so many lines, you are just converted into a few lines only, few lines only. Okay, that is just you avoided one more variable like x, y, z, and additional variables you are trying to avoid. And you are what you're doing. Whenever he puts the one number, immediately convert integer and put it in the variable a. Pretty straightforward. I'm not just trying to confuse the Python interpreter. Okay, whatever is entering, put in a, then you put it in y, then whatever the second number is putting in b, convert it into a z, then c equal to y plus z, little bit confusion and some extra lines here, right? So what I'm doing here is pretty straightforward. Whatever the information is there, just try to put in a plus b only. Don't try to make it such a big program. Okay, what happened? A c equal to a plus b. Okay, c equal to a plus b. I'm just printing out. That's it. Once you run it, you'll see that it's going to ask me again question 10 plus 20. What is the output? Can you please tell me that the total is 30? Now working fantastic. So this is a one way of taking the information from the user and converting into integer data type. At the same time, you can also do later. That means take the number first from the user. Later also we can convert. Let's see that example as well. I'll put it as a next example so that you can differentiate what it means. Okay, here I'm taking the next example as 125, converting into data type. This time what I'm doing is I'm not converting it. Okay, I'm not converting it. So obviously when you run this, you know what will happen because it will concatenate, right? So 100 plus 500, it will simply concatenate, which is not, this is not I'm expecting. So ultimately, what is our job? Whatever the user is entering, that should be stored in some variable and it should be converted into integer data type. Instead of giving here, okay, while taking the information, after taking the information also, you can convert, that is int a. Okay, so if you see any program converted at the bottom, converted at the top, no confusion. Ultimately, my job is to convert into integer data type. That's how I'm trying to make my program to give the right result. Now, what I am doing here, if you look at the previous program, here I use the int at the input stage only. Here, I'm giving an int later part of my program I'm trying to convert. Let the user give whatever the number. Okay, I know it's still string, but I'll convert into a later into the integer. That is what I was trying to do here. Now, once I run this, now you can see the same output. Okay, 10 and 20. Now, ultimately, I want to convert into a 30. How you want to convert? It's completely my choice. Whether I want to do it in the initial stage itself, whether I want to do it at a later stage itself, or you, while you are giving the output you want to convert, still holds good. There's nothing wrong in it. That means while giving the output, now what is happening here? You have said int a, I'm removing it. Okay, I'm removing int b also. And when I run this, as usual, it will concatenate, which I don't want. So 10, 20 as an output, which is okay. Okay, 10 plus 0 is showing as 100. Okay, which is quite correct. There's nothing wrong in the program. So here, what I want to do is instead of doing the operation here, that is conversion of integer, of string, conversion of string into integer, instead of doing here at the output level also, you can do it. That is int of conversion of your C. How does it make difference? No difference. So at the every stage you can convert, any stage you can convert. There's no need to convert at here. It's here also, here also, here also. Wherever you want to convert, it still holds good. So let me say 10. It may say 100. It should not be 10, but rather, okay, what is happening here? So when I'm trying to convert C alone, by the time A plus B, this is the thing what you need to understand. Here, the input of A is string 10, right? That is how it is accepting. When I'm trying to take this 20, it is still string. When I'm converting into C, what is happening is C is taking as 10, 20 equal to 10 plus 20. This is how the output is looking like. Okay, so that means when I'm trying to convert at the end of the stage, you cannot convert the output, that is C. Even if you're converting into integer, it's not understanding. It's still taking as 1020 or 1000 or whatever. It's simply taking as a concatenation, which is wrong. So what you can do is whatever the value which is being stored, which if you can convert into an integer. Okay, we failed to convert C because even if you are converting C into integer data type, A and B is not converted. So C is still not converted. So let's say 10. Now let's see if it is going to still concatenate or it's going to give me the output 10, 20. So that means what? It's still not understanding because A is in double quotes, B is in double quotes, and both double quotes, when you're trying to use an integer data type, it's still giving 1020. No, this is not the answer what I'm expecting. I want it to be convert exactly the as an output. So what you can do here, you say input A, okay, and sorry, integer A and integer B. So both you are converting explicitly, then you are combining them. So once you run it, what will happen again? It will, let's try to answer two questions, 10. And what's the second question? Second number. Now the answer is 30. But what is happening before? Let me just put it this here. Okay. I'm just putting as what you call comment. Now, if you can understand this logic, what is happening? I'm simply saying int C. Okay. When I'm running this, it's giving me 10, 20, and the answer is 1020. The reason is you are just converting C, which is not correct, because when you are converting C into integer data type, by the time A is storing in double quotes 10, B is storing in double quotes 20, that's how C is showing as an output as 1020, and that 1020, even if you convert to integer, it's showing as 1020. That's it. So the correct logic is we need to convert both the values. Doesn't matter where you convert, whether at the first stage, whether at the calculation stage. This is your calculation, right? A plus B or A minus B, or whatever the mathematical operation you're doing, or based on your logic. And when you're not able to do it, we can still do it here. And when you're doing, actually this line itself is not required, right? So even if you are not giving any C's, there's no picture of C here. I want to make it a simple 3 lines code. I could able to make it very easily. A plus B, which is just converted into a integer data type. I said 1000, I said 100. It should be not, okay, not 1100, rather it should be simply 1100 as an output. It is not concatenity anymore, rather it is giving me the right information. Okay, so hope you understood how to use the input function, and we are keep using this because so far whatever the examples I was showing, it's all hard coded. Okay, might be have not observed, I'm giving hard coded numbers, 10 plus 20, it's a hard code number. No, I don't want to use that hard code. In the real time, we are going to take the information always from the user. How you are going to take the information from the user? By always using the input function. Let me throw some more examples so that you can understand better this. So what is the treatment when I'm trying to work with an example of string? Let's try to see converting an integer data type, or let's say this is a string data type. Okay, by default anyway it is taking a string, right? So let's ask a simple question to the user. What's your name? Okay, enter your name. Or rather, whenever you want to ask question, this is the only way of asking your questions to the user, and based on the name you want to give some output. Okay, so here what I want to do, simply print A. Okay, when I simply say enter, it will ask me what is my name. I said Monty. When I say enter, it is going to show me my name. But before that name, you want to also say hello, because this is how you are going to uh, uh, use your predefined information. Like you want to say hello, you want to say good morning, or whatever the information you want to put before the variable. Please make a note, never try to use your variable's name is in double quotes. What will happen, by the way? If I say my name is Monty, then I say enter. No, this is not what I'm expecting. Hello, yeah, no, that is not my name. My name is Monty, right? So always remember, variables cannot be enclosed in double quotes. Though it is a text information, what you're giving, it is not a text, rather it is a box. Okay, it's a container which is holding information. If you close with the double quotes, it will print as it is. That is what the fundamental rule what we learned. Whatever the information you give in double quotes or single quotes or triple quotes, it will print as is. So never try to use double quotes or single quotes, triple quotes for your variable. When you say enter, and when you enter your name, and when you say enter, it will show only your name, but not the variable name itself. Okay, so this is how you are going to convert some string to what you call string to integer data type. Let's see one more basic example to understand more in detail. Okay, this is 128 example. Here what I'm doing is, okay, this is how your concatenation with your name and as well as your variable. Okay, that's what you have seen. Let's begin with the next example, like checking to return the type of input method in Python. Okay, what is the information which is printing actually? If I want to understand what is it is printing actually, if I say print, if I say type and a, and you see it is printing exactly string. Okay, I need to enter my name here. So once Monty, and it is printing as str. So did I use any conversion types here? Did I tell my interpreter, please convert into a string? No, because that is a by default nature of your input. So never try to convert into a string because it's already as in a string. Okay, never try to convert into a string. So let's take one more example here to make it a better understanding. I want to say, please enter your name. I want to take one more variable called b, and I want to say enter your age. Okay, let's try to make it little complicated and slowly try to increase the level of complication of your program. So I want to say age. Okay, I'm asking only two questions to the user. Please enter your name and please enter your age. Okay. Now, as you know, now by looking at these two lines, uh, I want to answer your question in chat. What is the data type of A? Okay, before conversion. If you understand this logic, it's good. So what is the data type here and what is the data type here? Can somebody just put it in the chat very quickly? The answer for A, what is the answer? What is the answer for B? What is the data type? Okay, if I want to print, I can print, of course. So I can say print type A. Okay, I can even see B. I can print it, but can you just quickly guess, based on the knowledge what you have right now, what is A stands for, what is B stands for? Okay, so Rashekar is saying A is nothing but string and B is integer. Okay, and both are str. Naga Bhavesh, excellent answer. You said like both are strings. Yes, by default is string only. Even if you say enter your salary, enter your name, enter your company, you ask any question to the end user, but everything will be a string by default. Nagabavish, that's the right answer. You are saying both the data type of string, and you can see practically by running this program, and you see both are strings. Okay, let me see. My name is Monty. My age is 8. Once I run, it is. I'm not looking for the output. I want to see what is data type, because once you know what data type it is working on, so that I can really perform better on my program. So the answer is both are string data type. Now the question is, can somebody quickly put on the chat box which variable I need to convert into which data type? Which data type need to be converted into which data type? So that means, do I need to convert A into some data type, or B I need to convert into some data type? Here, by default, what happens is like when you're, okay, let me just remove this. Let me put for now. Okay, let me use this. I want to say print your name is, what is your name? I don't know, because I need to put it in the A. Okay, so now again, I want to say your and age is, what is age? That also I'm not aware, because I don't know what the user is going to enter. So I'm going to say B. Let me run this. Okay, what's your name? I said Monty. Understand the concept. Later on, we can write thousands of lines of code very quickly. So once you say 8, it is telling your name is Monty and age is 8. Both are str. What's wrong? Are you adding anybody's age to anybody? No. Are you subtracting from your age to or with your friend or anyone? No, you're not doing any mathematical operation. So there is no need to convert the b variable, right? Okay, until unless if you're doing some calculation, the way we have seen in the previous example, I was trying to add 10 plus 20. So that means there I need to convert into integer data type. But here, if you look at, there is no need to convert. But let's try to convert and see what happens here. Okay, let's try to convert. And right now you can see the output as this, right? It's showing as your output as class strings. Let me put in the comments. Okay, both are showing as strings. But now your job is to convert it, though it is not required here, because I'm not calculating age with something else. I'm not telling, please tell me your year, I'll calculate your age. I'm not doing any calculation here. I'm just taking your information. That's it. INT, and you convert into, I use the open bracket one, you need to close it. Otherwise, it's an incomplete statement. Now, what I will do is I'll run the same example, and as you have seen the output, I'm getting excellent. It will give you the excellent answer. But the Monty is also string, 8 also string, which is wrong. Now, once I run it, what will happen is it is taking as Monty, it's taking as age as 8. Now, this is what I want to see here. The class string is showing as a string. That means Monty is treated as string because I've not done any changes, because that's the default nature of the input function. The 8 is converted into integer data type because myself explicitly said, please, age is number. Can you put it as a number? That's what I said here, converted into an integer data type. Okay, data type. Now it is an integer data type. Why? Because myself have come. Why it is str? Because that's a default. Okay, by default, always it is a string. Whatever you're doing in the any operation you're doing, by default is string. So you need to be very clear where I want to convert, what I want to convert. That should be very clear. Okay, so now this example will clearly demonstrate whether it's demonstrating very clearly how to convert into a type, whether let's try to see one more example so that you will come to the conclusion. Okay, it's only happening with a string to integer, integer to string, or it can be a float also, so that we can quickly demonstrate, or we can see the change. Okay, so let's try to take one more example here. I'm taking the same example without any modification. I'll do only one modification which will change the whole uh, system here. Okay, 99. Here I'm asking what is your name. Again, default data type is str, so by default there is no need to change. I'm asking what is your age. Enter your age. So it is by default is a string which I want to convert you into integer. So smartly I used int data type before that. Okay, into data type before that, or else let's try to say enter your salary so that I can see in float number salary. Okay, salary is something like you'll have 1,000 rupees, 50 rupees. Okay, dot 50 rupees, 1,050. So when you want to show some in decimals, right? So floating value. So that's why I'm interested to take some salary number. Let's say salary here. Okay. Now what is happening here is initially I just converted text to integer. Now it's a time to understand how you can convert into a float. Okay, what I need to convert into a float. Now even if I run nothing, you'll find any change because I'm just taking the information, right? So I said 1,050, 150. Now what is the change you are going to see? What is the default behavior of my integer data type? Let's see. Okay, what is an output? Now the output is showing what's went wrong. Int with the base 1050. Okay, now, here you said input and you are entering a value of decimal. So what it is telling you is invalid return for the integer with a base 10 because you have taken as, it should be a base as a 10, but not as a decimals. So that means it's giving me an error. So what went wrong here? Let's try to analyze this. A is a variable which is taking my name, and there's no need to change any modifications here. And B is a variable which is taking my salary, and salary is not always a numeric, I mean, a round figure number. It could be some decimals also, like something, my salary is 100 dollars 50 cents, let's assume. So when I want to show some my salary in this format, obviously we need to have float value, not integer. So let me run again and try to closely observe what is the error here. So I said my name is Monty, I said my salary is 100 dot of some 500, so enter. I got an error. Okay, we have seen that. Now how to fix this error? Because you yourself asking what is your salary. Okay, so that means when you, instead of converting an integer data type, now it's a time to understand and convert a float value. Is it correct? Float, yeah. So what happens is when you are trying to enter now Monty, I said 100 into decimal 50 or something. Then once you get, now Monty I'm getting as a string, but look at the salary. Is it an integer data type? No, it is showing as a float value. Of course, integer floating value, that is a float value. So this is how you convert, guys, the number into string, string into number. That's how you'll convert. Okay, very rarely you'll see that string is being converted into integer because string is the string, right? So that's how you convert. And let's take one more thing at the runtime. Okay, we have seen the runtime also. That means but when you're taking the information itself, you're converting, or you can convert later also. That's what we have seen that example. Let me quickly look at the charts, and any questions for me? Convert to a float, float, b to int, b to int. All right. So we have covered how to convert is also fine. So let me just quickly reset all the what do you call outputs, clear all the outputs and just restart. I just want to remove all this output so that I can see what are the examples covered. Okay, all the outputs are erased. Now let's try to understand one important function which is available in Python. Okay, I was talking about input, and we know already the output function. Most of the time when you want to evaluate certain kind of expression, what is expression means? 10 plus 20 is a 10 plus 20 is an expression, okay, or divided by or multiplied by rather like 50 or divided by 10. This is an expression which you want to evaluate into an answer. If you guys remember the Bodmas rule, right? So what comes from, okay, let me just put quickly what is a Bodmas rule, otherwise it will not be very clear to understand this. Let me put quickly, I'll put it in the form of comments here. BODMAS, BODMAS, okay, which you learned in mathematics. So B stands for what? Uh, B stands for, it's a bracket, okay, and O stands for, I think we already covered, so just a quick demonstration, because for the next topic, I need to make you understand what it means. O stands for order, and what next? Like we have something called, okay, next we have something called D, which stands for, D stands for what? Division. The M stands for, we have multiplication. Okay. And then we have something called A, addition. Then we have something called subtraction. Okay. So we know that in the mathematics, like if you want to evaluate any expressions, we need to strictly follow this Bodmas rule, right? In mathematics. So when I say 10 plus 10, it's straight away pretty straightforward. It's directly 10 plus 10 is 20. So you are going to evaluate. Like when you have an expression, a very lengthy expression, let's take an example so that you can understand this. Uh, I want to do 2 multiplied by 4 plus 3. Take something like a minus, or 8 minus 1. Okay, it's already complicated. So by using a Bodmer's theory, like how you are going to calculate this, am I first going to multiply 2 multiplied by 4, which I'll get 8. 8 plus 3 is nothing but 11. Then after that, 8 minus 1. How I'm going to do the calculation? How my system is going to evaluate this expression? Okay. So as you see, the Bodmer's rule says in mathematics, okay, it will always first try to solve what is there in the bracket. So what is there in the bracket? Can I calculate directly 2 multiplied by 4? No, I can't do it because I need to follow this Bodmer's rule. I need to calculate or solve the first problem. Is this is my first problem. That means first I need to solve the problem which is in the brackets. That is what it's saying. That is what the Bodmer rule says. So let's try to figure out like how I'm going to solve this problem. I'll put it in uh, a comment so that you can understand what I'm doing here. Okay, the first thing is you need to use a bracket expression. So that means 2 multiplied by 4 plus 3 minus 8 minus 1. Okay, so what is that bracket I'm trying to solve first? Okay, I'm using that B first. So that means 8 minus 1. So what is your output is going to be? Output is going to be equals to, that is 2 multiplied by 4. What is that? Plus 3 minus, already I calculated this. Okay, already I calculated in my mind, as my Bodmer's rule says, first whatever is in the bracket, first try to solve it. Okay, let me solve that. 8 minus 1 is 7, so let me put 7 here. Okay, so my first problem is solved. Now what is the next rule I need to follow? I need to use the order. Okay, anyway, I don't have an order here. So let's try to use the division. Okay, where is the division here? We have something called, we don't have a division. So let's try to use uh, then we need to use a multiplication. The next one after BOD, we have something called multiplication. So in my problem, where is the multiplication? This is my multiplication. That means this is already solved. Now I'm trying to solve this one. 2 multiplied by 4. Okay. Is it? So then we have 2 multiplied by 4. How much? Yeah. 8. Okay. I got the output. Now the plus 3 is still remains same because plus 3 importance is given at the after multiplication we need to do, right? So 8 plus 3 minus your 7. Then finally what we are doing, we have to use same Bodmer's rule. Multiplication is over. Addition, that is 8 plus 3 is 11, then minus 7. That is your bringing down to the calculation. Now just trying to use again as the actual answer is how much? Is 4. 4 or 5? 4. Yeah, 4. So now I'm just trying to give you a simple snapshot to understand how the BODMAS function actually. Okay, I've just taken some expression. You take multiple scenarios and see. First, it's saying you need to solve the problem which is there in the bracket. So what is my problem here? 8 minus 1. How to solve it? 8 minus 1 is simply 7. So I got the output as 7. Then it is saying use the order. I don't use. I didn't have any order here. I don't have any division. I have multiplication for that matter. So 2 multiplied by 4, which I got 8. Okay, then I have something called A. A is nothing but addition. So where is in my problem, where is the addition? So 4 plus 3 is an addition, right? So S stands for subtraction, nothing but what of the output you get, that is minus of 7. So 11 minus 7, finally I got the expression as 4. This is generally how I'm solving, okay, when I have an expression in Python or in programming language for that matter. So here we are first trying to solve, again I repeat, we are used a B, nothing but within the bracket 8 minus 1. Then we are going, there is no order here, okay. And directly we have something called multiplication. So 2 multiplied by 4, you can see here. Then we have a problem to be solved, that is the addition. Then we have to solve the answer, that is a last one, what is that? Subtraction. So that's how the BODMAS rule is applied. You take some more complicated and try to see it. Now, if I want to solve the same problem in Python, how I'm going to solve it? There is a function which will help you again to drill down this expression very quickly. Let's see how to do that. Okay. What I'll do is, let me write some few lines here so that you can understand what is this function is all about. So let me convert into a markdown first. What happened? Okay, markdown. So the function name is quite interesting one. Let me eval, lowercase eval function. Okay. We'll spend a separate session to understand all the functions, but at this moment I record this so that I can for my next topic. So this is an inbuilt function again. Okay, this is in function which takes the strings as an input and returns, let me put in a simple words, returns the results. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is like, okay, this is something I've done manually, but I can't do every expression into manually, right? Like I need to follow the BODMAS rule and everything. So how this EVAL, which is nothing but evaluate your expression. This is an inbuilt function again, which takes the string as an input and evaluates to it and returns the result, evaluates it and returns the result. Okay, fine. So for example, let's do this magic, simple one. 10, I said 10 plus 20. What happens? What would be the output here? Let me put it this. What would be the output here? Oh, this is straight away pretty straightforward. It is printing 10 plus 10. As you know, like when you put something in double quotes, it will print as is. There's nothing wrong in it. What happens if I just put each individual numbers into a double quotes? Will it work still? What's the output you are going to get? Okay, it is concatenating. So these kind of fundamental rules should be there in your mind when you are doing any program. Before itself, you should have that output in your mind. What happens when I try to put two strings and use a plus operator, okay, arithmetic operator, it will simply try to concatenate them. Okay, if I'm trying to remove this double quotes here or single quotes or triple quotes, whatever you want to use, when I run this, it is treating as a complete output information what you're trying to do. But if you start using this evaluate function, how it works, let's try to see. EVAL. I'm trying to take a simple example so that you can understand. Here, I want to do is a single quotes or double quotes, doesn't matter. I'm saying 10 plus 10. Now, what is an output you're expecting here? What is an output you're expecting? As I said, eval is a function which will try to evaluate your expression. What is your expression? This is one expression. Okay, it will try to take that expression and it will give an output. So what is output? I don't know. We'll see later. Now let me take one more. 10 plus or multiplied. Let's take multiplied also. Let's take and operator. We know what is the and operator. And means both the conditions, right? So let's take one more example here. One is and, one is let's take a or example. Let's try to use all the available things so that you can clearly make out what is the difference here. Then we have something and or, and we have something called, okay, we have some division operator. Okay, by the way, division operator, we have two. And why we have two, we know that. Two Then we have something called, let's use a greater than symbol, greater than or equal to, and you can start using all greater than, less than, what you have seen. All right, so these are my simple questions which I put it here. But if I try to use a print function, you have just seen in a demonstration what happens. Okay, we have seen already an example what happens. Let me put this as, okay, before actually it prints the output, I want to see what happens here. Okay, what happens here? When I say eval 10 plus 10, if I use eval instead of this, if I use print function, I want to re-demonstrate that, what happens? Okay, it is giving me an output of 10 plus 10. Now I want to come out of this situation. I don't want to use 10 plus 10 as an output. I want to tell me what is the 10 plus 10 mean. So that is what I'm trying to solve here. When I run this program, 10 plus 10, is it going to be give me a 20 as an output? Let's see. I'm just writing just like that. I don't know what is the output. Let's see how it is going to treat. The Python is going to treat. Now, what is 10 multiplied 10? It should be 100. Okay, what is 10 and 10? Both are 10s, right? So obviously the answer is 10. Okay, 10 or 10. So obviously any one 10. So the output should be as a 10 only again. 10 divided by 10. So what does it mean? It's a single division which you are using. Obviously it should be throwing in as an output as, let's see, 1.0 as an output, or 10 divided by 10. And 10 double division which you're using, that means, you know what is double division difference means? It's a simply it's going to give 1, because if you use double division, that means you want to give the exactly the numeric part, the left part, not both. Okay, greater is 10 is greater than 10. Obviously the answer is going to be then a Boolean expression, whether it's a true or false. So what is the answer? It's a false or true. It's going to be true. So this is what I've just given as an out. Beforehand I've given the output. Let's see how this eval is going to express. It's going to give an answer. Once I run this, let's try to see the answers here. Okay, it's giving as true. Okay, it's coming. Let's try to put this as this all are evals only. So it's giving first one. Let's try to see the first one. 20 is an output, which is correct. Now let me see the second one. Okay, it's giving me the house as an output as 100. So that means what your understanding should be, even if it is in double quotes, still it is trying to give me accurate result because of a function called eval. Had it been if I use a print, it will not print that function, right? Of course, you can also use a print command before that. There's nothing wrong because we are using that eval function anyway. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Without print also it works. That's what we've been seeing it. Now let's quickly run this and see. You should not see any difference. Okay. Now let's go for the next one. I want to use what is 10 and 10. 10 and 10 means only 10. Is that true? Yes. Now eval function. Now let me run this. I'm getting 10, which is working. Okay, so that's how you can see all these functions are working. You can also use the print command. But what happens this? Let's try to use this expression. I don't know if it works. Let's see how it is going to treat. Also, I want to see this output. Now eval function within here, I want to use expression like single quotes, and okay, guys, remember in one thing in the mind, like eval is nothing but it's trying to express, evaluate the function completely, and it's good. Oh, by the time I solve my problem, which I was trying to do with a lot of, uh, I mean, I'm following the BODMAS rule. I'm trying to use, uh, tell you how step by step it is going to calculate. No need. Look at the output. It's the same. Eval is trying to find that expression. You have some more complicated also. You can just do that, like multiplied by 2, which I cannot do manually. It takes a lot of time, but no problem. It's giving the accurate result. The eval is calculating whatever you want. So that's how the eval works. Please come. Any question, just put it in the comments to see if you have any different question. The questions which I have myself, which I answered here. Let's see what is an output. We got 20, 20, 20. Excellent, excellent. Let me remove this. Let me remove this. Let me remove. Let me remove. All right. So this is your 130 example, which is trying to show you how to use eval function. Okay. All right, guys. So having understood how to use the input function, which plays a very, very, very important role, because I don't want to put hard coded values. That is the only problem with me now. That was a problem what I had learned so far, and now today I understood how to take the input from the user and to 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 make my program more dynamic in nature, right? So evolve is one of the built-in function which we started seeing how to express expression. You can just quickly convert the output. Okay, we have manually did it with the BODMAS rule, but there's no need to remember the BODMAS rule when you're really calculating, solving any problem through the Python or any programming language, right? So simply we can use a default function. Let me go for the next topic, that is what I was referring to, that is control flow statements. Okay, control flow statements. What I'm teaching you today about the control flow statement, it's not just about the Python, guys. It is about any programming language. You'll have this concept. So if you understand the concept in Python, how to use this if condition, the topic what I'm going to discuss, it's applicable to any programming. That's the same way. The logic will be different, but the skeleton, the structure is going to be the same. Let's begin with this topic, that is a control flow statements or decision flow statements. What does it mean? Okay, let me give some theoretical knowledge so that you can understand. In every programming language, in any programming language for that matter, this flow control or control flow statements or decision make statements means the order in which the statements are executed. In which order? Okay, in which order the programs are executed. Let me just give it a simple example which you've been doing. I want to print something like 1. Okay, I want to print something called 2. I want to print something called 3. Okay, just giving an output here, nothing else. Okay, now before I give the output, let's try to understand the concept again. As I said, the flow control means in which the statements or the instructions that we've written, okay, get executed. Okay, when I run this, what is happening? It is printing 1, 2, 3, because how the Python is reading. First, it is reading the first line, giving the output. It is reading the second line, it is giving the output. Third, it is reading the line, it is giving the output. There's nothing wrong in this program actually. This program is called as printing or executing your output in the form of sequential order, the way you have written. What if I've written something like 3 at the beginning? Okay, it will print the same fashion, right? So it's going to print 3, 1, 2. Okay, so that means the way you're writing, the Python interpreter is reading and giving the output. This is called as sequential order. Sequential order. The way you're writing, it is giving the output. That is sequential order. But not the same case with the control flow statements. That means maybe the way you're writing the program, the Python is not going to interpret now. It is going to interpret the program, or it is going to give the output based on the condition. Based on the condition, it is going to give the output based on the condition. So we should be aware of what statements are being executed in which order. So understanding the flow of the program is very, very important in every programming language. And as I mentioned, there are 3 types. Let's try to understand the 3 types. Okay, let me just write some notes here for your understanding. In programming languages, flow control means the order in which the statements or instructions. My keyboard is statements or instructions that we write get executed. Okay, that is what I was trying to tell you here. Print 1, 2, 3. The way I've written the order of my statements, it is going to print. This is the first order, second order, third order. First statement, second statement, third statement. That's how it is printing. There's nothing wrong with the Python. But based on certain conditions, if you want to print the output, how it is going to be. In order to understand program, we should be aware of what statement are being okay. So we need to understand the way you're writing. As I mentioned, keep repeating the statement. 3 lines of code I've written, it is printed in this. So here we have 3 types. Okay, what are the 3 types? Let's try to see that. We have a 3 types of or 3 types, or you can say 3 ways. We can say 3 ways in which the statements will be executed. Okay. 3 ways where the statements will be executed. The first one being sequential Second one is the topic what we are talking about, the conditional or control flow statements or decision making statements. The third one would be your looping. Okay, so the first one already we've been using it. Sequential means this is what the sequential is. I've written the first line, it's printing. Second line I've written, it is not reversing the order, it is not jumbling the statements, it is printing politely the way you are writing. That is what you call as a sequential order. So let me write, so what is a sequential here so that you can keep it as a record. What is the sequential? In the type, flow, the statements are executed one after the other by using sequential statements. We can okay, what I can do basically by using a sequential is simply we can develop a simple progress. That is what I've written. Sequential is nothing but in this type of execution flow, okay, the statements are executed one after the other sequentially. One after other sequentially. That is what you need to understand here. This is what I've written as a first one. This is what I've written as a second one. This is what I've written the third one. This is what I've written as a 100th one. It will not, Python interpreter doesn't know anything. Reading line by line and printing the output, that is what the Python knows. That is what your sequential type of execution. Okay, let's go for the second one. That is what we are learning. That is a control flow statements. In case of a control flow statement, what happens is the statements are, let me write, then we'll talk about this. Statements are executed based on the condition. That's it. Okay, based on certain condition, it will execute. For example, if I'm saying if number is equal to 10, okay, my program is something like this. I want to check if the number is 10 or not. Then if the number is 10, then it will print something else. If the number is not 10, it will print something else. That means what? It is not printing in the sequential order, but rather it is trying to print in the form of based on the conditions. Based on the conditions, that's what we need to understand here. Based on the certain conditions, when you want to display an output, okay, this is more widely used if conditions and looping. Sequential, yes, of course we can use it by using a simple using sequential statements. We can simply develop a simple programs, not complicated ones. But most of the time in the real time, what happens is like you will be condition based, right? So condition based in the sense there is a condition, and if the condition is satisfied, then you want to give the output. Otherwise, no. Okay. As an example, I told you if it is an apple, give me this output. If it is not, give me something else. So based on condition, only it will give the right output when it is a matching with the apple. If it is not, it is not going to give the output, something else. So based on a certain conditions. In the same structures, we have a looping concept. Looping concept, don't try to understand more because we have a separate topic on this. Okay, we'll discuss more about this. A set of statements, what happens in this case, are executed repeatedly until the condition become false. Okay, don't worry about looping structure. I'm not going to talk about today anyway. So we need to understand what is a conditional structure. I repeat again. Okay, apart from sequential, the sequential is without looking at any conditions, is printing it just like blindly. It is printing all the conditions or whatever the rules have written, it's printing. In case of a conditional statement, what happens is based on a condition, it will print the output. So let's try to understand better by using an examples. Okay, conditional statements in Python. Conditional statements are also called as a decision making statement. Decision making, based on the decision it is going to execute. Let's discuss some conditions. Okay, making some statements in details. Okay, for that we need to understand there are the three types again in this conditional structure. So I'll go with first one in detail. So it will not take much time to understand the second and the third one. Okay, so in this conditional, let me put this as one more heading. We have something called if statement. Okay, if statement. The second type would be if else statement, if else statement, and the third one would be if elif, elif else. Don't worry what exactly I'm writing, don't worry. Just anyway, we are going to see with the complete structure. Okay, we are going to see with the complete structure. So in this conditional statements, we have it three types again, to make your program better. That is if statements, okay, if else statements, if elif else statements. So let's consider the first one first, that is a if statement. In case of if statements, what happens is if the if statement contains an expression, okay, if the condition is meeting, then you want to perform the job. So for that, first I need to understand the skeleton. Skeleton means how the syntax looks like. Okay, how the syntax looks like. First, it starts with the if condition. I'm writing in uppercase just for readable purpose, but it will not be in uppercase, guys. If condition, okay, colon, semicolon, okay, colon, it's not semicolon, colon, if condition, then you want to print something called if block statements. Okay, what is if condition? If this is a condition, what is that condition mean? What it could be anything. For now, let me take a simple example. Is this number equal to 10? That is my condition. If it is true, then I'm going to print the output called the if block statement conditions. Okay, else I want to print something called out of if, out of if block statements. Okay, out of block statements which I want to print. So let me put this in comments for now. Okay, because these are just syntax. If you understand the syntax, if condition, then what you want to do. Okay, if condition, then what you want to do. The if statement contains an expression, that is what this expression is. Okay, followed by a colon, not semicolon, it is a colon. And colon is a mandatory, otherwise it's thrown error. That also we'll see. Okay, we'll try to see with some errors also so that we can understand better this. The condition gives the result as a Boolean type, either it's a true or false. Okay, if the condition result is true, then the block statement will print the output. Else what it will do, it will try to print the out of block statement. Okay, now it would be a little difficult to understand what I'm saying right now, but let's try to see it, take a real time or simple basic example to make myself comfortable how to use the if statement. Okay, how to use the if statement. If you go with basics example first, and most of your programs are going to be based on your conditional structure. So let's see in a simple example now. Okay, now what I want to do is my problem here is I want to check if the number is given number is 1 or not. Okay, let's try to check a simple example. Now I'm using num. Num is a variable, you can take anything. I'm saying 1. Okay, my number is 1 and I want to check if this number is really 1 or not. If it is 1, then I want to print the output, else I don't want to print the output. Okay, I didn't go to the else part, but I want to consider the if condition first. So how I'm going to write the if condition, because you have just seen the syntax now. If we are going to write if condition, like we are going to start with if. Okay, you start with the if, and what is the condition? If number is equal to, okay, if number is equal to 1, then colon. Once I say enter, my cursor is coming and stopping somewhere else. Try to understand this. This is very, very important. This is called as indentation. That means I have a space here, right? Actually, if I want to write the program from here, I can write, but no, you cannot write the program from exactly the way you started the if condition. Why? That's why if you see after the if condition, when I say enter, it's coming and standing exactly under the block. So that means whatever the statements I'm going to write here, it is related to this if condition only. Okay, I repeat, if condition colon is nothing but you're saying then, okay, then you're printing the output. Now here, what I want to do is I want to print, okay, I want to print, then I want to say, yes, it's 1. Okay, I simply want to say if this condition is really meeting, then I want to print yes. Okay, now let's try to execute this and let's make it more complicated. First, the biggest mistake I've done here is equal to. Equal to is what? Assigning a priority. If I use double equal to means, then I want to compare if this number is really 1 or not. When I run this, what happens is it is going to say, yes, it's 1. Okay. What if my number is something called 5? Okay. The number, what you have given is not matching at all. Okay. You initially said your number is 1. So let me make it more dynamic. Okay. We know now how to use the input, right? So let me use input function here. Input, input, then say enter your number. Okay, I'm saying enter your number. Why I'm asking the user? Because I don't want to use any static values here now. I'm running this program. It will ask you a simple question. What's your number? I said 10. Is 10 is equal to 5? No. So obviously it's not giving me any output. Why it is not giving me any output? Because I'm not written anywhere. If it is not the number what the user is giving, should be evaluated, or it should be given a output there. Okay. What if I say what if I say 5? It will definitely say your condition is meeting. Enter your number 5. Okay, it's asking me to enter the number. I said enter 5. Okay, you entered your number as 5. Now it is trying to check if the number given, okay, whatever the num has stored a value called num, it is taking the number from the user and it is cross checking if the number is 5 or not. Then it is saying yes, it is 1. Yes, it is not. Let me restart my kernel. I think restart and clear the output. 1 second. Okay, in this first example, you have taken as num equal to 1. So what is the difference between this and this? Okay, there is a difference, right? This is your hard-coded value. And this is you're asking from the user. This is user choice, right? The user can enter any number. So I don't want to go for the first model because I've been using it and I know it's a hard-coded number. This time what I want to do, if number equal to 1. So that means if the user is entering 1, then I want to print it as it is done. Or I don't want to print anything. Okay. Let's say if I set 1, then I should print. Okay, it's giving us, okay, let me just put for now as a hard-coded number. Then we'll take the next example as input. So what I'm trying to do is here when I'm trying to print, okay, it's saying yes, it is 1. Okay. So it is saying 1 because the number what I had hard coded, and if it's trying to check if it is equal to 1 or not, and it is both are same. Now, what is out of block statement? Out of block statement in the sense when I say enter, again it is coming and standing at the same position. Okay, indentation. When you just go back and write any statements here, that means this statement what I'm writing here now is not the part of if condition. It's not the part of if condition. So if I write anything under the exactly the indentation, that is a part of your if condition. But this now I'm writing this statement at the bottom. So I'm saying no, simply say not matching. Okay, I'm saying not matching. So what is happening here? Let's try to understand this. When I run this program, okay, it is saying, yes, it's matching, yes, not matching. It is trying to give the both the statements here. Now, what is happening here? Okay, let's try to go one by one. First, I said num equal to 1. Okay, num equal to 1. Then I said if number, that is num, it's very difficult to pronounce this, num. Okay, num equal to 1 or not, that is what I'm checking here, checking the condition. Okay, checking the condition. If it is true, execute the output. So as simple as that. So what you have done, you are taking the information from the not the user, but you have given a hard-coded value as num1, and num is checking whether it's matching or not. And after this enter, if you're not using any print statement here, let me say here, when I say run, I'm getting both the statement, right? Hence it's 1 and not matching. But actually, when it is matching, it should give yes, it's 1. When it is not matching, that means what? If the condition is not matching, you want to give a different result. So how you are going to give the different results? By not giving that indentation. That means what I want to do is I don't want to use the indentation. I want to print as outside block. Let me go to the syntax again. If condition, then what statement you want to execute. If that's not, like you want to print some out of block statement. This is an out of block statement. We'll see one more example. This is a very simple example here. So this is an out of block statement. That means the statement that should be executed if the condition is true. Okay, this statement is meant to be printed only if the condition is true, and should have one level indentation is mandatory. One level of indentation what I've used. If you don't have this indentation, it will not understand what you're trying to do. Okay, with respect to the if condition clause what you have provided here. So that means the condition num is equal to 2, it should give the result to true. That means whatever the information you are given. If the condition is equal to 2, for example, if you have not provided 2 here, but if you have provided as 2, then it should be evaluated to a false. Hence, what happens is the print function is outside of the if condition will be printed. Outside, what is outside here? When I say enter, whatever I write here, this is inside the if block. But if you're writing anything outside, this is outside. Why it is called as outside? Because this is in line with the if condition. It's not within the block of your if condition. So from now on, we need to concentrate on what you mean by indentation. We'll see with more examples what is indentation and how to use that. Okay, let me quickly go for the next example, the same example, but try to put in a different way. Okay, to get more understanding here, I'm using a one more block here. So okay, I'm taking the same information here. I said number equal to 1. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to check if number double equal to 1, double equal to nothing, but actually that is we are trying to compare if number is equal to 1 or not. Then you want to print the output. Okay, then you want to print the output. Yes, it is true. And here what happens is you want to use the else part. Okay, that is the second model. Okay, second model, what is the type? If else. Okay, if else, that means if the condition is not meeting, then what you want to do? Okay, if the condition is not meeting, then what you want to do? That is what your question is. If the condition is meeting, yes, you are saying something like, yes, it is matching. Then you also want to like to give an output saying that, no, it's not matching. So that is what comes under your else part. Else part. Assume that today we have a school. If you have a school, you want to go to the school, else you want to sit back at the home. Okay, if you have office, you want to go to the office, else you want to sit back at home. So that means if the first condition is matching, then you will really go to the office or school. If it is not matching, what you do? Else part. Else means if the condition is not matching, what you want to do? That is the else part. So how you are going to write the else part? So when you say enter here, you got this indentation right there itself, but you don't want to write the within the if condition, but you want to use the else part. Okay, again, there is important symbol we need to use, that is a colon. Okay, so what I was trying to do is here, if you want to, okay, again, when you say enter, where your cursor is coming and standing, that is important. Okay, where when I say enter, where your cursor is coming and stopping, that is important. Don't go backspace here. If you go back, oops, if you go backspace, what happens? It will treat that it's out of if condition, which we don't want. So once I say enter, it is trying to tell me it's 1. What if the number is, I've given something like 10, and now you're actually your number is 10, and you're trying to check if 10 is equal to 1. No, it's not, right? So obviously you should be getting a different answer, that is a not matching. So this is using a else part, but at the same time you can use taking information from the user. Let's see in the next example, instead of combining both. Okay, so here I've hard coded the number, right? Hard coded the number. I'm just removing the hard coded number now. Okay, I'm using this my input information, enter your number. So I keep checking if the number is same or not with the condition. So once I run it, I've not done much changes here. I just converted the hard coded value to a value. Now this time, this time I'm not given a hard coded, but in fact it is asking me what is your number. If I say 1, what should be the answer here? It's saying not matching. Why? You have used the indentation. Why? Oops. All right, guys, let's see again the num equal to 1, or num equal to 1. Okay, now I want to check if n double equal to 1, right? So for that, I'm using the print command. So in the print, then I want to use the else part in the else. So that means if it is else part, only when the condition, that is what the else beauty here. Like if you are not enter, so now its input is 10, my input is 10, assume that the user is given 10. I'm trying to check this n value. What is n value? N value is 10. Is 10 is equal to 1? That is what I'm trying to check. So when it is checks the condition, it will fail. It will fail and it will not print this one. Rather, it will come to print in the else part. It will print the else part. Now, when I say run, it should say not matching. Something went wrong. It's working. Okay, so let me repeat this condition again. Whenever you are giving any input, either through the input function, either through your a variable. Okay, when it takes the information, now this n is nothing but what? The 10. Now it is trying to check this 10 is equal to 1 or not. No, it is not matching. So that means this will skip this particular condition, this particular execution. It is going to the else part and printing the second line. So here you need to understand how different it is from the sequential execution. The way I've written it is not printing the output. Based on the condition, it is printing the output. That is the difference between the sequential and conditional. Looping is something different. Again, we'll spend more time on that in a separate session. But for now, let's try to understand the difference between the sequential condition and the if condition. So this is quite clear how the else part is working, how without the else part in the sense, if, let me remove this. This is a simple without your else part. Okay, if it is matching only it is printing, but if it is not matching, what is output? It's not giving me anything because I don't have any else part. Now I understood how to use the else part. The syntax would be the same. If condition, then okay, then what you want to print, else what you want to do. Okay, if today there is a school, I will go to the school. That means you're not going for the else part, you're going for the school. That is your printing. Okay, if you're not going to the school, then what you're doing, you're sitting back at home and relaxing. That is your else part. So that's how, if based on certain condition, now I've taken only one condition. Slowly we'll try to improve this program by using a multiple conditions so that you'll understand better. Okay, now my spider is open. Let me try to check in the same case. Okay, here first, in order to check any program, first try to see if it is working or not. Okay, it is giving me the output. So let's try to run this. First try to see something. Okay, it's working. So that means initial checkup. So I'm saying num equal to 1. Then I'm using if condition num equal to double equal to 1. Then I'm not given the colon. So this is ideally, right? So it will give automatically print. When you open double quotes and you see yes, then I say else part. I'm not used a colon, but automatically it's taking. That's the advantage of using. I'm saying no. That's it. Once you say run, if it is matching, that will give the output, else it will not. It's saying yes because it's really 1. If it's 10, it should say no to me because the condition is not meeting. So this is using, let's try to use the other IDs also instead of using Jupyter, because in the Jupyter I can write notes. That's the advantage of using Jupyter there. Okay. Anyhow, now let's try to go for the next level in the sense using the else condition. So where is that written? Okay, that is a first if condition. That means without returning any else part. That is a simple if condition. The second one, if else statement, is if the condition is becomes true, then fine. If the condition is become false, then you want to go for the else part. That is what you have seen as the second example. In the third one, or this type, what will happen is elif is nothing but like else if. Okay, else if what happens, you have a 3 different conditions. If I get engineering, I'll join engineering. Second condition is if I get MBBS, I'll join MBBS. Okay, third condition is otherwise I want to do something else. Okay, we have a 2 multiple conditions, and otherwise last you want to off something else. If the first condition satisfied, then fine. Okay, you will not look for the next second and third option. If the first condition is not meeting, second condition is meeting, then you will not overlook the first and last option. If the none of the first 2 conditions are satisfied, you want to go for the last option. So this kind of multiple conditions when we have, then we are going to use else if part. Okay, here I cannot use say else if, it is elif. Okay, elif. Actually it's a else if, but here it's written as elif. ELIF. Okay, you can easily find out by when it changes to color, you can easily find out. So let's go for the next example and see the same condition to better understand. Okay, let's say x equal to 0. Okay, instead of taking num and something, x equal to 0, or you can say, let's try to make it a dynamic because we learned it, right? So enter your number. Okay, I'm asking just to enter the number, and let's put a condition to the user. Okay, because we are using a multiple conditions here. My condition is please enter the values from 0 to 4. Okay, that's my question. That's my challenge. So for which I'm writing a program. If x equal to input box, when I run this, what happens? It will ask me some number. So when I say 10, it will not give me anything because I'm not given anything as an output, right? So now what I want to do is let me write some series of if conditions so that you can quickly comfortable in understanding this. What I want to do is if x equal to double equal to 0, okay, then what you want to do? That is, I want to print u how quickly you can write the program if you know the skeleton, the syntax, what I mean. You entered, okay, you entered comma X, right? Now, my cursor is coming and stopping there itself, right? So this is what we need to understand. Whenever the cursor is coming and stopping, whatever the further program you write, that is a part of if condition only. But you want to go for the next level of writing, the next condition. If you want to write, you will need to take forcefully a back step here. Okay, you need to write else if, sorry, it's not else if, it is elif here. In case of a Python, it is elif. Now you need to say x equal to double equal to, if it is 1, then what you want to do? I want to do something like this. You want to say you entered as x, okay, whatever it may. Then let me quickly copy this, the same condition, and I want to print it as this is if it is 2. Looks like a very big program, but very simple. Then I want to check if it is 3. Then you want to say you entered 3. Then you want to check if it is 4. Then you want to say 4. Otherwise, at the last, you want to say something. See, guys, always you should not be blank. When somebody asks you enter 0 to 4, and if he's entering 0 to 4 number or whatever the number, okay, tomorrow a real-time example, enter your age. Okay, it should not be more than 18. If he's entering below 18, if it is, then you can respond to him. If he's entering more than 18, okay, age is even is spending 18 or 19, you should respond saying that this is an invalid age, this number not supposed to be entered, some message. So that is what I'm putting in my print command, that is saying like you have entered something, you have entered beyond the number, something, anything you want to say, like you entered some beyond the number, like let it be x. Okay, so this is what your else if, no, this is not required. Okay, now you can see the program, how quickly we can write it. This indentation is really, really important, because this print command is related to this one. This print command is related to this command. Okay, this print command is part of this else if. So that's how we could able to write a very big lines of code. We just copied and pasted, because my challenge here was to please enter the values 0 and 4. I want to really identify you have entered the valid number. So quickly run this, and it's asking me a question, what's your number? I said 10. When I enter 10, I know that we are supposed to enter only between 0 to 4. So first, what will happen? Let's try to understand the control flow here. The moment you enter the number into this x, the x is trying to compare with 0. Is it same? So it will skip and come to the second condition. Is it same? No. Is it same? No. Is it same? No. Is it same? No. So when none of the condition is not satisfied, I don't want to be blank. I want to give some response to the user saying that you have entered invalid number, you have entered some beyond number, this is not a valid password, this is not a valid user. So you want to give some output there. So I have entered 10 here. So that means what? It is checking each condition, but it is not printing anything. It's not printing. It's checking all the conditions, and none of the condition is not satisfied. It's coming and posting that last response. So when I say run, it's saying like you have entered a beyond the number. So let me keep running this to see if I'm getting in the right one. So I said 1, which is a valid number. So what happens in the case of 1? Okay, first it is checking, is it the condition is matching? No. Is it the condition matching? If this condition is matched, that means it will not even see what are the other conditions. So that's how powerful the if condition is in any programming language. That means if the condition is matched, it will not read the entire program here based on condition. Though I've written the sequential order, it will not follow. It will never follow. Okay, based on condition, because what you have seen in the sequential programming, okay, sequentially when you're writing, it is printing every line, but here it will not print every line. It will see if the condition is matched only, then it will print. So that means after going through all the conditions, whichever the condition is meeting, okay, if this condition meeting at the starting stage itself, why you would go to second, third, fourth? It will not go straight away. It will tell you, okay, you have entered, okay, it should say like whatever the, again, it's not giving the output. I need to restart. So let me quickly restart kernel, restart. It's not giving an output. This kind of issues you'll definitely find because it's a browser based application. So whenever there is a fluctuation or you have been using this for a long time, it will stop. So when I run this, it's asking me what's your number. I said 2. So that means it is checking. No. Is it correct? No, it's correct. So when it is correct, it will print, and it will not even bother to check what are the other conditions. When I say enter, it will say you have entered beyond the number 2. What does it mean? No. Again, the same issue here, guys. Okay, guys, the problem with this simple program, what you have written, as you're asking for the number, okay, the default behavior, let me write here, the default behavior is only strings. Okay, because my input function knows only taking as a string. So when I'm entering this x, whatever the number I'm entering, it is treating as a text, and it is not able to understand when you are comparing a string to number, it is not able to give the right result. So what we need to do is the information what the user is entering, we need to convert into integer data type, otherwise it will not work. That is what the problem with the first number also. So here I said 4. So once I say enter, it's saying you entered 4. When I say 3, it's saying you have entered 3. But if you have set something beyond a number, that means which is not a valid number, okay, as per this program, it's saying you have entered beyond the number that is 100. So this is a very simple program with a multiple conditions. That means you have used elif, elif, elif. I repeat the program very clearly once again, just take a note of it. When I'm asking the user to enter the number, I put the condition already, please enter the number 0 to 4 only. But what if the user is entering beyond the number? I can handle that issue. How? By using a else part, because that's not that's out of my program. So obviously I want to give some else part here to print, boss, you have entered something invalid. So if the user is entering 1, what happens is it will come and check this condition. Is it matching? No. Is it matching? Yes. So that means the program will just stop here itself. It will not even check this, or even if you write some 100 conditions, it will not go through all the conditions, because the condition is satisfied, right? If the condition is satisfied, for example, you just plan for a movie today, and if you get a movie ticket, you will go for the movie, else you'll come back and sit back home. But you got a movie ticket, so obviously you'll not have that second thought of going back to home, right? So you got the ticket. What if you don't get the ticket? You'll come back home. So that's the else part. So whichever the condition is satisfied, that you will try to execute it. That is how the if condition works in general life. If you just start comparing, that's how the if condition is working. Just put your questions if you have any to understand. Let's go for one more example, guys. Before we Let me go for one more example too, so that you can have it throughout the practice, or we in the next session we'll try to use if condition continuation. Okay, let's try to see if we can find a biggest number. Okay, biggest number. Can we find the biggest number? What the user is entering between the two numbers? Okay, let me write between two numbers. We want to find which is the biggest number. So for that, we need x plus we require y. If you want to give your own numbers, it's fine. But if you want to give some user defined in the sense you are leaving that number giving from the user itself. So you need to say input, enter your first number. Then you want to say that y equal to enter your second number. Okay, this is the first number. This is the second number. Okay, simply we are accepting two numbers from the user. Now let's try to see how we are going to compare if it is greater or not, if it is a biggest number or not. Then how you are going to check? You are going to check if x is greater than y. That's what you check. Like you've been started using this operators again. Okay, equal to assignment or operators. We are using a greater than symbol here. So when you are using greater than symbol, if after condition we need to use a colon, which is a mandatory. Now we need to print the output. The print you want to say biggest number is, you want to print really that number, that's fine. So you can say simply what x. Okay, then you want to write the else part. So if you want to write the part not here, because that will become the part of your if condition. So you need to always take a one step back and say else, then colon, then enter. Then what you want to write? You want to write biggest number. Okay, biggest number is your y. So look at this program, very simple program, just to make yourself comfortable to understand this if condition. X, somebody has entered the x, somebody has entered the y as well. So you want to compare which number is the biggest, and you are printing accordingly. If the condition x is greater than y, then this will be the output. If the y is greater than x, then this will be the output. So let's try to quickly look at this. I entered 100 as your x number, and I've entered 200 as your y number. So what should be the output? You should go for the else part. That means your biggest number is 200. So that means it's trying to give the execution that is the else part, not the first part, that is your if condition. So let's try to print again. Now this time I want to give some big number of x. This is y. Let's give a smallest number, 10. Now when you say this, it's telling your biggest number is 500, not the 10. So guys, the if condition works based on the condition. This is my expression, that is the condition if, and the colon is nothing but you are ending that. It's like a then. Okay, then printing, this is your output. This is your output is nothing but this is a part of this if condition. That's what you need to understand. The indentation plays a very important role. If I remove that indentations, what happens is, let's try to take a look at it. Okay, it's telling an indentation error. So that means by default in Python, the indentation is very important. In some programming language for the beautification, I'll give some spaces like this, but here it is mandatory. It is not beautification, but for the matter of running the program itself, we need to give that indentation. When you say enter, wherever the cursor is stopping, you need to write there only. There only, that's it. I cannot write wherever I want. That's what you can see, that there is an error. The block, it is not understanding what you entered. So this is 1,000, this is a 10. So your x, obviously x is greater than your 10. Okay. All right, that's how we understood. Just just trying to find out the biggest number between the two numbers, that is x is taking some number and y is also taking some number. So in between that, we are trying to understand which number is the biggest one. So it's comparing x is greater than y or not. Okay, so that's a simple example what we understood, and we have a lot to understand between this if conditions. We have seen the three types, that is using the simple if condition. Then we are trying to use the next one, that is a if else statement, and then we also seen how to use the else if part. So whenever the situation to write a program based on the set conditions, only if conditions are supposed to use. Okay, we'll talk about this more on working on certain challenges to get familiarized with the if conditions more in the next session. And also we'll continue with the loops, which is going to play a very, very important role in any programming language for that matter. All right, so let me just clear all the outputs here before I just save it to PDF and send it out. All right, restart and clear all the outputs. Let me delete this. Yeah. All right, yeah, that's all for today, and we'll see tomorrow in next session more about the if conditions. Then we'll continue with the looping concepts. That's all, and have a great weekend. Thank you.